time for 2-Round Tuesday mock drafting. But first, I got the itch. I got that crave to be a little rebellious, to break some rules. I'm about to do something so vindictive, so rebellious. It's gonna shake your world, gonna rock your head. And also, no snitching. And if you start hitting me with none of that citizen's arrest business, oh, it's gone over here. Under penalty of law, do not cut this tag. You may face up to 10 years of imprisonment. It actually doesn't say that, but if it did, yeah, I'll be ready. Police coming after me, it's over.
World domination is mine.
Police, you're all under arrest.
After that extremely overdramatic bit, I don't know where that came from, but we're entering the draft to too many movies. I guess that's what it is. The draft order is slightly shaken up. For the most part, it's Tankathon's order and what it's currently projected, but it did make a couple of minor tweaks, as you can see, like the Chargers, for example. I think their schedule is going to be really tough with the amount of injuries that they face on their roster. So I had to do a little shaking maneuver there, move the Jags down a little bit. They're a tough team to watch right now. I'll just say that right now. They are very, very tricky. And then I moved some of the other teams like Baltimore up. I think they've got a good football team. I still think the Chiefs are going to find a way to get into the playoffs. I'm just saying. Let's start the draft. The Tennessee Titans at number 1. If you're picking number 1 in this draft class, a quarterback is going to be selected right there. And the Tennessee Titans are not going to be selecting the quarterback. I thought Cam Ward was fantastic. We're going to trade down. We're going to acquire some draft capital. And we are going to go to the New York Football Jets, who are going to be trying to vie up for a quarterback, I'm sure. I feel pretty confident, at least, of it. Now, as a Jets fan, I'll be real. I don't know if I want to trade up. I just love the amount of draft capital you have. But I do think it's something that we are going to be in the market for. And in this case scenario, we give up that pick 23. We give up a second rounder. And we are going to be moving up to the Tennessee Titans pick of number 1. That selection is now ours. And we are going to be taking a quarterback. And his name is Dante Moore, the quarterback from Oregon. I'm a Ducks fan. I'm also a Hoosier grad. So it's like a conflict of interest here. I don't even know what to do. When I was watching that Hoosier and Oregon game, I was like, who do I root for here? Yay, Oregon. Oh no, Indiana. Oh, yay, Indiana. It was crazy. It was really wild. But either which way, we're going Dante Moore, quarterback there who it just feels like that quarterback that has all the tools. He can read the field and hopefully can be our franchise quarterback. We need that guy. And he's also just all around. I don't really find a whole ton of weaknesses in his game. Sometimes he'll have a bad throw here and there, but generally speaking, he's an accurate quarterback. We need to take and find the franchise quarterback. It's been the long-awaiting drought. But now on to the G-Men, who finally seem to have their franchise quarterback. We shall see. I don't want to go too crazy on that hyper hula. We are going to be trading down here as well because of the number 2 overall pick. I think there's a really good chance that there are teams vying up to get that other quarterback in named Fernando Mendoza. We're going to trade up. It's going to ruffle some feathers. The Pittsburgh Steelers. This football team really doesn't get many opportunities to trade up. So we're going to take every opportunity that we can to maneuver up. We're going to give up a first, a second, a third, and a first next year. I know Pittsburgh fans aren't going to be happy with me. They are not going to be, but I'm just saying, Pittsburgh, when do you have a chance to trade up for a quarterback? Really never, because this team is barely ever picking inside the top 10. I don't remember the last time they picked inside the top 10. It's probably been like 20 years or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and force the maneuver up. They just got to go and get a quarterback. Their situation right now, it's a little brutal. We're taking Fernando Mendoza, rocking in the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a wild trip. We can call it a mock draft right then and there, but we won't. We're going to go on to the New Orleans Saints instead. And with this pick here at number 3, New Orleans, I think we just go ahead and take the best player on the board. And the reasoning for that, I actually like Tyler Shook. I think he's been pretty good. He's really impressed me. Maybe it was me coming into the season with very low expectations on Shook, but he's really shucking me for a ride right now because I think he's playing really well, especially with the offensive line not doing a very good job, in my opinion. Especially on that right side, Ruiz and Wilkerson have struggled big time, giving him very little protection. And also this week, I thought they should have won that game. They got way too cute down at the goal line, trying to do some, Taysom Hill stuff. And Hill's a fun player and everything like that, but sometimes just punch it in. Neal had been playing good. Their offensive line had been getting movement in the run game. That's one thing I will say they were doing a decent enough job on. Why not just continue to do that? Instead, they got really cute with some of these plays, and they were in the red zone like 4 times. They came away with 3 points. Not a good look there. But Shuck made some really impressive throws, even under pressure, entirety of the game. I'm going with Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Give him a number 1 wide receiver to go along with Chris Olave. And Olave is great and everything like that. I also think Cornette would be fantastic and fit Shoug's game because Shough likes to throw those 50-50 one-on-one balls down the sideline, and Cornette would be a good option. So would Tyson. So I'm going to go grab Tyson here. On to the Tennessee Titans pick here at number 4. And a couple of things to look at. Cam Ward, I thought was fantastic this week. MODK continues to impress and get better. Their O-line struggles are real. Their penalties are real. Geez Louise, the penalties for this football team over the past couple of weeks have not been good. And it continues that theme. It's partially undisciplined and all those sort of things. Cornerback position is something we could really look at too. Edge rusher. A lot of areas for this Tennessee Titans team. But we now have draft capital. We have a lot of it. So for me at this point, I'm just taking who I think is a fantastic football player, and that's Arvell Reese from the Ohio State University, to give them like an edge rusher. I think he could play off the edge for this football team no matter what. They just need some difference makers on their defense and on offense too. We can try to find some help for Cam Ward here later on with one of those first-round picks or second-round picks that we just acquired. On to the Raiders here. Number 5. Quarterback, of course, is in question, but I thought Geno Smith was not the problem. Yeah, he did a couple of bad throws, but I thought he had some of the best throws all week that we saw out of any quarterback. I'll be real. Like, some of those throws he made were insane this week. And the offensive line has been, I can't even use the word. I'm sorry, kids. Like, literally, I cannot. It would become R-rated, X-rated, possibly even, with what I got to say on this Raiders offensive line. It's not good. Their defense needs some help too. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the offensive line here. And we're going to go with the right tackle, Francis Mauigoa. Boom. Just easy selection for me. They got to improve. Even if they put him at right guard, I'm fine with that. You have some competition over there. You got to do it. It's a must need. Let's do it. DJ Glaze, Mauigoa, you move one of them inside the guard and you go from there. Cleveland, they also need offensive line clearly as well. Quarterback, it's tough. I just don't feel confident taking Ty Simpson here at this point. And there's no other quarterback I would take here at number 6. So I'm not going to force it. Maybe they get in on a Kyler Murray trade, which we could do, I guess. It just wouldn't make a whole ton of sense. They traded for Deshaun Watson. I don't know if I see them doing that again, just from an organizational standpoint, and Andrew Berry, where he's at right now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take a wide receiver, and we are going to go take Makai Lemon from USC. He is such a dominant force. My little comp for him is like wide receiver Bob Sanders or something like that. He's so tough after the catch. His separation skills are insane. He plays above the rim despite his smaller stature at an incredible clip. And I'm a big fan of Makai Lemon. He might be my wide receiver 1. I think he might be the safest wide receiver in this draft class. On to the Washington Commanders at number 7, and we're going to continue to do the thread, what I like to do here, even though Rueben Bain is on the board, and that is actually very tantalizing. I love receiver for this team as well. But you know what? We will shake it up this week. Rueben Bain on the board. Let's go for that. I'm just going to go BPA at this point. Rueben Bain from Miami. Pretty dang good football player. Some people are going to comment about the overall athleticism, and it may not. He doesn't have the insane juice. It may cap some of his ceiling. Maybe he just ends up being an edge 2 type of guy, and that's okay. You pair him up with Armstrong. They need more pass rush. That, to me, is just one of those where it is BPA situation. Improving the pass rush is also pretty vital. I like wide receiver there, too. I like trade down. Pulled a couple of options, but we're on to the Bengals here at number 8, where I do have to give a special shout-out to Joe Giles-Harris. I thought he was fantastic in special teams this week. Multiple plays. I thought, too, when he got an opportunity on defense, he made the most of those plays. He had a pass breakup, I believe, in the end zone as well. Really good game from Joe Giles-Harris. Maybe you need to get him out there on the field a little bit more because their linebacker situation right now ain't very good. I'll just say that right now. And coverage, not too promising in it, tackling either. That's why I'm going to go and take a linebacker here with Sonny Styles. Might seem a little bit high. I think Sonny Styles is a great football player, and this team could really use an upgraded linebacker. They do have 2 young guys in there, Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter. And there's a good chance that one of those guys at least develops. But for me, at the moment, I still think they need an immediate upgrade in that linebacking room, and I think Sonny Styles would be that guy. Offensive line played pretty well this week, actually. Defensive line, too. Miles Murphy and Joseph Asai, even though they're the backups, I thought they did their best job all season. So something to point out there. Is it their biggest need? I don't know. They've invested in it. I think Sonny Styles, though, is a fantastic football player. And we're going to take him here at number 8 for the Bengals to highlight him up. On to the Cardinals here at number 9, Arizona. The defense continues to be amazing. And some of these young draft picks, like Garrett Williams, been super impressive. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to affect the offense and try to improve it as much as possible. There are a couple of different ways that I could see this going. Like Jeremiah Love here is very interesting. James Conner coming off injury. Benson, he's also injured right now. What would they do is the thing. But at the end of the day, I do think offensive line is key as well. Those two areas when I'm leaning, but I'm going to go Jordan Love here because they don't. I don't know if Connor, how he's going to look coming back and looking at this for the long haul. You get Jeremiah Love in there to be that number one back. I could see that. Continue to build that run game, especially with Kyler Murray likely on the way out. I'm not selecting a quarterback here. Don't feel confident at that at this point. Offensive line, wide receiver, running back. Those are the areas that I'm looking at for the Cardinals for this football team in the first round. And we got onto the Dolphins, who will be coming off their bye week, facing the New Orleans Saints. With this pick, though, I always struggle with the Dolphins because I think there's so many different ways that they could go. I am going to continue to select wide receiver here with Carnell Tate because I just think he is a fantastic football player and he's a little banged up right now. You put him in there with Jalen Waddle. I love that combination, that skill set that they bring. There are so many areas that have to be addressed. So I totally get, like, you go with a Caleb Downs here, Jamad McCoy. They could continue to look at their defensive line some more. So many different ways. I just feel like Tate is a fantastic player and simply put, BPA. Now we go on to the Rams, number 11. And for the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford playing like an MVP right now. He has been incredible. Their secondary played great. Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes both had rock star games versus Tampa Bay. They were playing fantastic. That defensive line continues to run. And the hitman, Nick Landman, got that contract extension. I was so happy when he got that 3-year. This guy deserves it. Really hardworking dude. If you don't know, I'm Nate Landman. One of my biggest favorite players in the NFL is Nate Landman. So congratulations, Nate Landman. You earned it. That guy is a beast. He is an absolute monster. One of my favorite players is set. So really got to shout out that. Let's get back to the mock draft here. But I'm so excited for Nate Landman. With this pick for the Los Angeles Rams, I am actually going to just go take a best player available approach here for this team. And with Warren McClendon playing pretty well, maybe he's the right tackle of the future. So we are going to shake things up a little bit here. I'm going to take Caleb Downs. You pair him along with Cam Kitchens. Cam Curl is going to be going to a contract year, so there could be a little shake up here. Not to mention, Quentin Lake's also a free agent too. So Downs just adds another piece into that secondary to make it even crazier than it already is. And you get yourself 2 firehouse safeties with Cam Kitchens and Caleb Downs, which Cam Kitchens is also playing really, really well and lights out right now. On to the Vikings. Skull, battering ram. Let's go. What did we do? Well, I would have taken Caleb Downs right then and there, but that's okay because there's a couple of other areas this team needs to be looking at for sure to help improve this team. And I want to get some help for JJ McCarthy, but at the same time, I don't know, man. It is tough. Mike McCarthy, I almost want to think about replacing him here right now. Maybe I go take Ty Simpson. I'm not going to do that. It's just one of those things. Maybe this team gets in some sort of veteran, get a Joe Flacco or something like that. I could see them doing something of that reaction after this offseason. But for right now, what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go take a cornerback. I'm going to go take Jamad McCoy, get them another outside cornerback. You could put Murphy in the slot. You pair him up with McCoy and Rodgers as your little dynamic duo of 3 cornerback duos in that room. Have Martellus play more of a safety role at this point, even though he's more of like a big nickel in the slot positioning. And he's a good tackler and everything like that. Like, he plays his best football in the box. So I understand, but at the same time, if they want more coverage ability, because Martellus isn't great in coverage. On to the Panthers here, where their secondary was great. That was not the problem versus San Francisco. J.C. Horn, unfortunately, did get a little banged up there in that game, but he was fantastic, had 2 picks. And also Mike Jackson played a good game as well. I will say with this football team, their pass rush is still a big problem. Bryce Young, he had a couple of bad throws, of course, the one in the end zone being the most standout throw. Generally speaking, though, I feel like Bryce Young wasn't like horrendous in this game. I'm going to go defense. I'm going to go take a pass rusher. David Bailey's in the board here. He gives them the biggest impact right away as a pass rusher and should get this team from a bottom 3 edge position into at least a mid-tier edge position with him and Nick Gordon. to boost up that edge position overall. So that's what I'm doing there for the Carolina Panthers. On to the G-men after trading back, and now we've got all this draft capital at our helms. We'll have another first rounder, of course, next season from Pittsburgh. Look at all these day 2 picks. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have to move down quite a bit. I get it, but at the same time, it's not, to me, it's not that big of a deal because the player I might consider even taking up at the top is still like, there's still options available for this team to be able to grab at this point in this draft. In where I'm at currently, I would say if Jermon McCoy is here, I would consider that very much. However, what I'm going to do here, I also like Peter Woods a lot for this team, or Caleb Banks, I like a ton too. Peter Woods, Caleb Banks, their run defense, especially without Sexy Dexy, is not very good right now, and I think Peter Woods would really help them out there. Right tackle, right side of the offensive line is also something I would definitely consider here too. And that's kind of where I lean, because I think the defensive tackle, you can find a good run defender on day 2 or even day 3 in this draft class. There's so many nose tackle prospects to watch out for. Whereas tackle prospects, you know what I mean? There's like 3 guys that I'm looking at, and then after that, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm making funny faces because that's the way I look at it. Lomu, I'm still a little higher on Lomu. I'll be honest. I like Lomu a lot, and he did walk on the senior day, so I think he's coming out. I really do. And even though he doesn't have right tackle experience, he's still the guy I like a lot. It is tough because it's neck and neck. I mean, Fanu's a great player too, and I think that's the route I'm going to go here. Is just go get Spencer Fanu because he is more of a natural right tackle for this football team, and go from there for that giant football team. So you trade back, get Spencer Fanu there. Cowboys, number 15. What do? I am actually going to stick it in here with adding a left tackle myself. I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu, left tackle from Utah. I think it's an area they still need to address, even though it wasn't horrible for the Eagles, but this throughout the season, they've not been great. And even during the Eagles game, I thought that the interior, they got some pressure, but generally speaking, let's go ahead and improve that tackle position with Caleb Lomu. Whether he plays right tackle for them for Terrence Steele, Nathan Thomas had a decent game. Tyler Guyton still trying to come along with his development, got a little banged up. We'll see how that comes along as things go on. But anyway, back-to-back Utah offensive tackles off the board for the Cowboys. Select that left tackle of the future. I think Lomu could fit that blindside protector for Dak Prescott. On to the Houston Texans, where they swarmed Josh Allen and those Buffalo Bills. That defensive line is the scariest in the NFL right now, and that defense is propelling them to 3 straight wins now. They got some tough games ahead. I will say that schedule is not looking easy. At the same time, though, I'm going to continue to build a strength into a even bigger strength. And another thing you have to think about is Rankins and Settle are both free agents and getting older after this season, which is why I'm going to go select Peter Woods here from Clemson to improve that defensive line even more, make it as fantastic as possibly can be. Mr. Anderson, Mr. Woods, and the Hunter. Let's go. I think that's an insane defensive line. And Tommy Togiai is under contract. He's been good. He's been a good rotational player for them. The Los Angeles Chargers here at number 17 overall. And for the Bolts, I think they really just want to get their players back from injured reserve. That would be the big thing here for the Bolts. I am going to take offensive line here. I think it is just the top area of need for this football team. At least they need depth, if nothing else. And that's actually why I'm going to go with Caden Proctor here, just in case the injuries with Rashawn Slater or Joe Old take some time, or whatever. You get injured, you need a good swing tackle. Let's get Proctor, but Proctor's going to play on the inside. I put him in here at guard. You with Mekhi Becton, you have the biggest guard position in the NFL. You would have some hog mollies up there, up on that front. Let's go. That would be pretty insane. I also do like Austin Sherfield. I like Chase Basantis a lot. I don't know. Maybe Jim Harbaugh says no to Ohio State. No, I don't think he would. I'm going with Proctor, though, to add in a much-needed help on that interior offensive line for Justin Herbert in this offense. On to the Detroit Lions here at number 18, which I think interior is also a big area of need for this football team as well. And it's something that I think that we need to address. Their defense, though, it got rocked quite a bit. Amik Robinson had his worst game of the season. I don't know what the heck was going on there. And it is something to consider, is going after some more secondary help. I bet they've been injured and everything like that. So we'll see how it continues to come along. But at the end of the day, improve their defense somehow, some way. And I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk. He just seems like a Dan Campbell type of mold as well. Big physical monster to pair up on that defensive line. and gives them that strong side end with Aiden Hutchinson. They like these big monsters and big athletic freaks, and he can bring that to that defensive line for the Detroit Lions. On to the Bucks here, number 19 overall. Well, they need some more pass rush as well on their defense. It's a big problem. They also need to get healthy on their interior offense line. I think that's been one of the biggest issues for this team this season is the amount of injury that they've had on their interior offensive line, and Baker's really struggled with a lot of pressure in his face. I also think an interesting pick for this football team would be a guy like Kenyon Sadiq. K. Daughton's taken a bit of a step back this year. They could just bring him back really, really cheap, and that wouldn't shock me. At the end of the day, though, I still think edge rusher is the top area of need for this football team. They have to get more juice off the edge. I'm going to go with a guy that I am really high on. It's Mateo Uiagalelei from Oregon. I also like Cassius Howell a lot. Some teams may look at the size outlier and say, it's just not going to work at the NFL. I think Romello Height's a really fun player too, but he might be a little more of a DPR for sure early on in his career. Mateo's a guy that I think can play all three downs. And if he continue to get better with his power profile, I like his game a lot. I really do. Yes, I'm a Ducks fan. There's some bias. I got to be real. I really think Mateo Uiagalelei could be a very, very good edge rusher. The more I watch him, the more I continue to like his game. And the way he uses his hands, too, is so impressive. So get a little more powerful, a little more pop. And, I think he could be a top 15 edge rusher in the NFL. On to the Browns here with their first pick. We did not go quarterback. We went wide receiver, Mekhi Lemon. The second pick, it's offensive line, right? We need to help the offensive line. It is such a big need, and we are going to affect the offensive line here. I'm going to go with Austin Sherfield from the Ohio State University, close to home. Put him inside a guard. Give him a chance to tackle if you need to, right? Give him some. I don't care. I have no problem with that at all. I think he's really, really a good player and somebody that's going to start rising up boards very, very soon with his film. So let's improve the offensive line. Still no quarterback here. I'm not taking Ty Simpson. I don't see it at this point. The way he's playing currently, I'm not reaching on quarterback. Maybe in the second round, we'll look at something like that. But for right now, I'm not taking a quarterback here for the Browns. Maybe they, I don't know, Shedeur Sanders. He had that one crazy deep ball, too. So maybe we'll rock out with Shedeur Sanders. Let's give him some more offensive line protection. Give him another weapon. You never do know in this case scenario. He also had some bad throws. Okay, I'll be real. He had a couple of throws that could have easily been interceptions. It wasn't a perfect game by Shedeur, but it was also some high-level stuff there from Shedeur as well. On to 21 in the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy struggled big time, and I thought that just some misreads and some late throws and some bad decisions from him. I'm not going quarterback here. I'm just saying in general, that defense, Robert Saleh, had the best scheme. He played Carolina fantastically, and that's just all credit to Robert Saleh and the job he's able to do. What I'm going to do with this football team is I'm going to invest in the center position of the future. Brendel going to last year of his contract. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I think I'll do that on day 2 because Brendel's not horrible. Their offensive line could use some improvement. I'm going to go wide receiver here. I think wide receiver is the area we need to look at. Let's go get Casey Concepcion. I don't think that you're going to see Brandon Ayuk back in a 49ers uniform. They just voided a lot of his guarantees. The injury situation. Let's go get another wide receiver to impact here and give Brock Purdy another weapon. And then we go on to the Cowboys. And at number 22, first pick, we've got Caleb Loma. Let's get some defensive help now. And I would say it's BPA between edge, between, even linebacker. If a Sonny Styles falls to this point, then that would be something I would look at for sure. I think safety is a big need. I love Thieneman, great football player. I like that pick quite a bit for this football team. And you might say it's a bit of a reach. I get it, but I think Thieneman is a really, really good football player. And it's exactly kind of what they need right now is another impact in that secondary. And that's why I'm going to go with Dylan Thieneman, the safety from Oregon. The Titans at 23, where I just think, we got to go get some help on offense now. We got Arvell Reese with their first pick. Let's get a wide receiver in this room. The cornerback is also something I would consider. Offensive line as well would be something I would consider too. Cornerbacks, there's some good ones on the board. But I think too, with where they're picking right here after the trade back, I'd like to get a wide receiver in front of the Bills and the Chiefs because I think they might both be looking at going after wide receivers. So we are going to go get Denzel Boston, Chris Ward, both really good options here, I feel like. But meeny, money, mo, toss a 6'7" by its toe. I'm going Chris Bell from Louisville. I know you might say, Treylon Burks 2.0. I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to get Chris Bell here added to that wide receiving room. On to the Bears, 24 overall. Chicago, they don't have their roster's pretty dang good from top to bottom. I will say that. They got one heck of a roster, but we're going to improve the edge position. Why not add another pass rusher into the room? Now, is there any guy on the board? Maybe Zion Young, who fits that mold. TJ Parker also kind of fits that mold of what Dennis Allen's going to look for. So we'll try to be realistic with this. I'll go TJ Parker. I do think they still need to improve their pass rush. Besides Montez Sweat and that interior defensive line, I mean, Austin Booker to me is actually their best pass rusher one-on-one. Booker's not as good of a run defender. Montez Sweat's a better run defender. I don't think he's as good of an impact pass rusher as he really once was, and he's still fine and everything like that, but he's being paid quite a bit. They could move on. Their cap situation is a little bit tricky. Either which way, TJ Parker, I think, makes a lot of sense to improve their edge position, add some more pass rush to that defensive line. On to the Bills, 25 overall, as I mentioned before. They may have to look at wide receiver at this point. I am going to prioritize offensive line, though, here. I think offensive line has to be the priority. It's just straight cut and dry for me. Let's improve it. Let's go get Vega Ione, the Penn State left guard. It would be a plug-and-play situation in there if they lose David Edwards to a big contract this offseason. So it's just one of those picks that I think makes way too much sense to me. Chiefs, number 26 overall. A lot of different areas this team could look at, too. But you know what? I am going to add another wide receiver in here because I do think that it is something that maybe is a bit of a problem for this football team. But in this case scenario, I'm going to add in a different type of threat. I'm going to add in Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. Could be a mismatch problem in Andy Reid's offense, the way that he could use a guy like Kenyon Sadiq. Patrick Mahomes clearly needs another weapon out there in this offense. So let's go get Kenyon Sadiq out here to help out this football team. On to Seattle, the 12th man. At number 27, we are going to be taking, I'd look at a couple of positions here. I think offensive interior still a need, right guard. I would say that linebacker is something to monitor. I like Tyrese Knight a lot. When he got his opportunity back again from being benched, he made the most of it. Ernest Jones is also injured right now, so they've got a little banged up out there. Drake Thomas does play pretty well. You got Patrick O'Connell. Had a pretty good game, actually, in my opinion. I am going to take corner. At the end of the day here, let's go get a corner. I am going to go with somebody who I think has been so good this season. Keith Abney II from Arizona State. Put him in out there on the outside. Now, if you're looking for more size, then I guess Kelly Jones would be the option here, who would fit more of the, like if you're straight up just looking for a Tariq Woolen replacement, I think that would be more of your play there. I don't even know if they have him on the board here. That'll be interesting to see if they have him. I'll have to take a look at that in a minute, but I'm going to go take Keith Abney from Arizona State. I like him a lot. On to the Baltimore Ravens here at 28 overall. The Ravens. What do I want to do? I want to get defensive line, baby. Let's go. I'm going to go get Caleb Banks, who was back in action, and he looked really good, in my opinion, even though the stats didn't say he didn't do anything, but I thought he did plenty. I thought he was a big impact. And you can tell he's not 100%. He doesn't look like he's in full game shape just yet, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But Caleb Banks, if you're getting him at 28, I think he is an absolute steal. If he were healthy, I would take him. If there were no medical checks or anything like that on him, I would take him over Peter Woods. I think he's that good of a football player. I think he has the biggest impact as a pass rusher in this draft. What he makes of a difference. Work on the pad level a little bit. I do think that's a bit of a problem in the run game, but he can work in it as a situational, rotational pass rusher for the Baltimore Ravens early on and give them that much needed depth that they need on their defensive line. Philadelphia Eagles. Well, Philadelphia, what shall we do? They need some more quarterback help, possibly. Even though it wasn't horrible, I thought Cooper DeJean maybe had the worst game of the season. So even also he had some good plays too. But at the end of in that second half, kind of had a rough half. Got picked on a little bit too. That secondary in general got picked on a little bit. I'm not really looking to replace him or nothing like that, but I will be looking to add another cornerback in the room. I'm going to pair along Avion Terrell with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean as that little dynamic duo there. I also think safety could be something to look at here too. But I will look at that probably more on day 2 at this point, and we'll go and address the secondary with adding Avion Terrell to just boom it up even more and make that secondary a legendary secondary. Denver, number 30 here. Denver Broncos, we are going to be looking at, I think at this point, you just got to say to yourself, BPA / linebacker here would make a lot of sense. CG Allen, maybe the best player available. I'm going to call it the beast player available right now. CG Allen from Georgia. you put him in there, that long-term linebacker. I think they're still looking for that guy, and C.J. Allen could be that dude. The Los Angeles Rams now, where their first pick, we shocked up the world a little bit, going Caleb Downs, bolstering up that secondary even more with a fantastic player. And now I'm going to go on to a little bit of a surprising pick. I'm going offense, right? And I'm going with, you thought I was going to go with Ty Simpson? You're tied up wrong, because I'm going with a wide receiver. I'm going with Denzel Boston from Washington here. Add another sure-handed bandit into that wide receiving room. I look at this and say to myself, he could be that third wide receiver for this football team, because Devontae Adams, remember, he'll be like 34 next season, I believe, or something like that. He's getting older, and he's getting more expensive. They're going to have to look at that situation for the long haul. And as we've seen with Tampa Bay, having a good third wide receiver is not a bad idea, because their third wide receiver could end up being your first wide receiver after injuries and stuff like that. I think Boston makes a lot of sense from a scheme perspective and what the Rams do and how they can utilize him. Plus, he's a tough-nosed blocker as well. He just gives a lot of those vibes that I'm looking for this football team, to add in that wide receiver 2 of the future for this football team, Denzel Boston and Puka Nacua. Woo! Man, oh man, he can learn that release package too from the best in the business, in Devontae Adams. On number 32, New England Patriots, Super Bowl champions in this case scenario. I thought Drake May had a bit of a rough game here. Accuracy was an issue, but the offense line did him no favors. Actually, generally speaking, I thought the offense line did well in pass pro, but their run blocking was horrible. They couldn't get any push, I feel like. The Bengals defensive line was destroying the Patriots all game along. And that's why I was like, hey, I'm like, holy mackerel, this Bengals interior defensive line just tearing them up right now. So it kind of I took note on that. And that's why I'm saying I want to improve this offensive line a little bit, get another offensive interior guy to put Wilson Moore at more of his natural position at center for Bradbury. Like that anyway, long term, I think that makes sense anyway. So we're going to add in a guy that I like a lot. I'm going to go with Chase Basantas. I also think Emmanuel Pregnon is a really, really solid player too. Both of these dudes I think would really help them out. But I'm going to go with Basantas here. A little younger player. I think a little more upside there. And that's the way that I'm going to go. Titans, second round. Here we are. And here's their draft so far. Thanks to some Jets picks here. We're not done yet. We got some more Jets picks coming up. But this is their pick right here. I'm going to add in that cornerback, that cornerstone for this football team, to help build their secondary. I'm going to go with Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU, who falls here to the second round with some speed concerns. Could make him fall down the board just a little bit, and that is why we're going to go and select him here in the second round, add some help in that secondary, that draft for the Titans. Woohoo! Man, I think that's pretty dope. On to the Giants here, and but you have to let me know, am I bugging around here? On to the G-Men, 34. Where we also traded down, remember, so we got an extra second round pick, plus they got a lot of extra third round pick and a first rounder next year too. With this one here for them, as I said before, this is something that I think now we can look at this defense a little bit. And even though Kelly Jones is not in the simulator here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take his teammate over here, because he's not Isaac Smith. He won't be in this draft, so this mock draft that I do. So I'm going to take, technically it's Kelly Smith, okay? It's going to be listed here as Isaac Smith, so people might go around and be like, who'd you take? Who is that? But it's going to be Kelly Jones from Mississippi State. Call him Jones Island over there. He gives you some size, too, in that cornerback room, which would be a good combination. I think with him and Flott out there, if he's re-signed, which would be ideal, even though you do have a Debo, which, maybe they go ahead and let go of Flott since you're already paying Paulson a Debo. Unfortunately, it kind of is what it is. And that would mean that you go get Jones and Paulson and Debo, and you have Phillips in the slot. And Phillips has struggled a little bit too this season. He's had some ups and downs. He's been good in run defense, I feel like, but in coverage, he's kind of had some lapses here and there. So we'll see how it goes. But I think their secondary needs some improvement, and that's why I'm going Kelly Jones here with that pick. And it's a little bit, we have another second round pick to address some other needs as well that we can fill. New Orleans, number 35. We got Jordan Tyson with their first pick. I'm going guard. We got to improve their interior. I know they've got some defensive needs. Totally get that, but we're going to improve the offensive line. We're going with Emmanuel Pregnon here from Oregon. On to the New York Jets here, now at number 36 overall. And with this one here, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, since we did have to trade back with the Jets and give up a lot of draft capital. Well, I'm going to do something to try to recoup a little bit if possible here. And with the Browns picking at 38 and they're right behind the Raiders here at number 39, I'm going to make that trade. And we're going to go ahead, I'm going to give up a third rounder. It's going to cost quite a bit since you're coming up for a quarterback. That's just kind of what it is. Even though it's 2 positions, right? It's not a whole ton. It's still a quarterback, and we're going to force that thing through. And for the Browns here, we are going to go select a quarterback, and his name is Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. There's going to be some Shador backing, and I understand. I get it. But I still am very, very on the edge with that one. I want to see more, and that's why I'm going to make this move to at least increase the quarterback competition. To me, Dylan Gabriel is not going to be the answer. So it's either Shador Sanders or Ty Simpson. You can't just go into this next offseason with Shador. That's my point on this. Whether you bring in a veteran like a Joe Flacco or something like that, I just don't know if it's going to really move the needle. So I will still invest in the quarterback position, and I feel like this is really the best chance that we have at this point. And Sorsby, to me, might end up coming back this next offseason. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I still really like Sorsby a lot. And I would consider him here for the Raiders at this point. However, I just wonder if Sorsby's going to come back another season at this point. So that's why for this pick here and the Raiders, I am, after first going Francis Maui Noah, let's improve the defense some more. And that's why I'm going, because there's no other quarterback. The only other quarterback I would consider would be Brendan Sorsby, and if he ends up coming back, then that would be something to watch out for. I'm going to improve the defense some more. We're going to take the best available defensive lineman in general, and I think that would be going after Cassius Howell, edge rusher from Texas A&M. Put him in with Max Crosby, get some more edge talent. Let's go on here to the Jets, who just traded down. We just saw that little maneuver action, and now with the New York Jets, I'm going to go ahead and take a safety here. I'm going to go get Kamari Ramsey, USC playmaker. Big fan of him. Overall, I think he can play in the box, can play up top. I like him a lot, though, in free safety. Malachi Moore can play a little more down. I think Ramsey's going to be a fantastic player. Just a really big fan of Ramsey. I think he's underrated. On to the Houston Texans, number 39. First pick, we got Peter Woods. Now let's get some offensive line help that you guys are all clamoring for. We're going to get one of my favorite players in the entire draft, Parker Brailsford. Alabama center. Plug and play. Just simply put, I think he's going to be a beast. I think he's going to be a top 10 center in the NFL. And I always say this, but I put my reputation on the line on that one. I love him. I'm a big fan of him. On to the Bengals here at number 40. First pick, we got Sonny Styles. It's looking sunny over in Cincinnati. But you know what else we need? We need some help in that secondary. So let's improve it. Let's go add in Colton Hood or Brandon Cisse. Who do we want to go with? I think we'll go with one of those two guys. There's some other good players, too, that I like a lot. I think are really good options. David Igbenogson, as long as he doesn't hold like crazy, he's a really good football player, and we could highlight him. It wouldn't shock me if he starts rising up boards a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and take Colton Hood here for the Bengals to pair him up with DJ Turner. I feel like Dak still had a really rough week. Another one, penalties, beaten coverage. Maybe you move Dak still into the slot more permanently. Have Hood on the outside there to bring a combo with Turner. On to the Cardinals here, number 41. And they're not Boston, but anyway, we're going to go get offensive line help, I think, at this point, or wide receiver. Those are the two areas I would be looking at BPA between the two. I like Jeremy Bernard a lot there for them. Let me just take a look at this offensive tackle spot. Yeah, there's not a whole ton right here, is there? But Blake Miller. I think Blake Miller would be a good option for them at the right tackle, be able to develop in there. Let's bring it. Blake Miller from Clemson. Selection for the Cardinals. On to the Dolphins. Fins up. We got wide receiver Carnell Tate with their first pick. Next pick. Adding in cornerback. I'm going David Igbenogson from the Ohio State University. Give him some toughness on the outside and give him some grit. They need some cornerback help in that room. On to the Atlanta Falcons. Number 43 overall. And to me, the top need here, I still think wide receiver is something we have to address here. And I would like some more dynamicism in their offense. And that's actually why I'm going to go with a little bit of a shocker here. I like Zach Branch a lot. Some people are going to say he's a gadget guy. I think he could be more than that. I really do. And even the way he gets utilized in Georgia's offense, you might tend to think, oh, he's only a screen guy and stuff like that. But no, I think he's gotten better as a route runner too. and his hands aren't perfect. We don't expect him to be Drake London, but they need more of a quick separator guy, and that is a big thing that they're missing. Mooney could be a cap casualty after the season. He had a good game, I will say. He beat Kool-Aid McKittrick on that deep little post route. That was his best route, I think, of all season. So good to see he's coming along, but I'm going to add in Zach Branch there from Georgia, a little playmaking specialist in there, a quick twitch guy. Could be their Josh Downs. That's kind of what I'm looking at right there. Next up, we got the Vikings back on the clock here. First pick, we got Jermod McCoy. It's something where I now look at this. I still think safety is something we could look at, but with going Jermod McCoy, as I said before, maybe you can play Martellus a little bit more in the back with Theo and go that route, or you can sign a safety too. I'm going to take some offensive help. There are a couple of things that I would consider here, such as center, which at this point I would say probably be more of a round 3 situation, maybe like an Apani Laulu or Jake Slaughter. Or, yeah, maybe some, or you can convert like a Brian Parker into a center position. So those are kind of what I'd be looking at the center spot. Kelly is playing, and he is still under contract, so maybe they get more of a developmental center, like a round 3, round 4 option. Tackle wouldn't shock me here either. Maybe you could put Caleb Tiernan at right tackle, or you could draft like a Max Iyenanker over there to let him sit for a season behind Brian O'Neill, who hasn't had his best season in my opinion. He's still a really good player. He's dealt with some injuries too. I'm going to go with running back though here. I'm going to go take Jadarian Price. They were behind the sticks so bad. I know their offensive line had a bad game. Green Bay's defense line was incredible in this one. Like Micah Parsons had that MVP-like performance versus that team. He was beating everybody. Darisaw was having nothing against him. Like, it was a really bad showing in general. But also McCarthy was holding on the ball way too long. Like, McCarthy got to get the ball out on time. I'm going to go with Jadarian Price. They got to lean in the run game, and we'll add an explosive runner. Carolina back on the clock here. We went David Bailey with their first pick. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some. I still think that we have to address some more defensive help here, and that is something that I like doing. And we're going to go and get a safety here. Big area of need. Improve the secondary some more. I'm going to go get Emmanuel McNeil Warren. He's an absolute beast. There's some other guys like Jelani McDonald who I think actually might be a better fit for what they could do with a guy like Trevon Merrick. Because Merrick's really good in the box, right? He made some big plays too last night around the box. So that's one thing I will say. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren could play a little bit of both in a hybrid role, but I think Jelani McDonald would be a better fit for what they're looking for. So I would say that we could go Jelani McDonald. We could put Michael Taffy here instead and put it as that. So I do like that fit quite a bit. And I think Jelani McDonald is a stud. Let's do that because I do think it's a better, like he's more of the free safety ball hawk type of player in that secondary to pair along with a guy like Trevon Merrick. Let's go on to the Giants here now on the clock. And the Giants' first 2 picks, we went Spencer Fanu, and then we went cornerback, Kelly Jones. And now with this pick here, I know that's one's going to baffle, right? I do like to go linebacker quite a bit. However, Hosea Trotter from Missouri is not on the PFF simulator. So I think what I'm going to do here is just make it pretty simple, and we'll go Caden McDonald from the Ohio State University. He's a really good run defender. He's been more productive as a pass rusher too this year, but the way he wins with his hands and consistently, you get when Sexy Dexy is not out there, and he's had a bit of a not his greatest season. Part of it is injuries, and I get that. But when he's not out there, Gibbs was just gashing the team, and it's critical that they need to improve their run defense. Moving on to Tennessee now, where they've got Arvell Reese, Chris Bell, and Mansour Delane. I want to get offensive line help here. That's just where I'm going. I am going to take Cade Pieper here. Now, he's not on the simulator, so I'm just going to substitute Logan Jones. That way if people go and look at it and stuff like that, but like, okay, Logan Jones, that still would make sense too. But Cade Pieper, I would select over Logan Jones, even though Jones is a good prospect as well, and he's had a fantastic season. Pieper, really like him. And he could end up being the long-term center too for this team, but I figured just put him right in at right guard for Kevin Zeitler. Boom. Shakalaka. On to the Houston Texans here. We went center. We went defensive tackle. Next pick here. Well, I like adding in a guy that, this would be a fun combo in that secondary. Emmanuel McNeil Warren and Caden Bullock. Sign me up all day. That would be insane. Dude is a monster. What a combo. Let's go on to the Bolts here, where their first pick, we went Caden Proctor. Now I want to go get some defensive line help. We're going to go DT. Couple of DTs on the board that I like. I like Bear Alexander a lot, especially if you're looking for a 3 tech. I think he makes a lot of sense in the mold that they have a Caldwell, they have a Tart, both really good run defenders. They are missing that pass rusher on that front. Miller's an okay pass rusher. Washington has so much potential. So if you want to go for the upside, Washington makes that sense. But I do think Bear Alexander is a better pass rusher right now. So we have a tough argument to be made. What do? Do you shoot for the upside in Amari Washington, or do you go with maybe a little bit higher, even though there's some off the field stuff with Bear Alexander and why he's transferring to all these different schools? So that might push him down the board a little bit. We'll go with Amari Washington, possibly cleaner tangibles to think about. So we'll do that sort of thing there. But just adding another beast up into that defensive line. On to the Lions here, number 50 overall. And the Detroit Lions, we first picked up Keldrick Folk. Now let's improve the offensive line. A big area to improve that interior for the future. I'm going to go add in Jake Slaughter from Florida, the center. Just a solid football player. I think he can be a day one starter. He kind of fits the type of Dan Campbell, capping knees up and all that sort of things vibe as well. So who knows what they end up doing, but they need to improve their interior offensive line for sure. Even though it's pretty good, especially in the run game. Pass pro has still been a bit iffy, but run blocking wise, they've been fantastic up on that interior. It's definitely going to be the identity of this football team is lean behind Jahmyr Gibbs, who is playing at an all-pro level this season. Number 51. I also thought about cornerback too for that spot too. I could see them going cornerback and maybe waiting until center until round 3. Who knows? So I can make a couple arguments there for different type of selections for the Detroit Lions. Because cornerback, Rick Robinson after this past week, we might want to continue to address that secondary position too. I don't know. I'm just saying that's definitely a spot to look out for too. But I wanted to get some offense as well. On to the Bucks here at number 51 here. And what do we do for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We went edge rusher with their first pick. Let's get some help now on offense. And let's go and we could get some depth on their offensive line, like no joke. But you know what? We're going to go with a tight end here. We're going to go with Justin Jolly. What a great name, too, in the spirit of Christmas as we're getting closer and closer. The dude has put the team on my back. He is an electric, great receiving option. He can block somewhat. He's not going to be a dynamic blocker or anything like that, but he is a good route runner and creates space. The lack of production at the tight end room this season has been alarming for the Buccaneers, and I do think that they could use some more help there. I also think linebacker something, but I go linebacker a lot. Maybe they pick somebody up in free agency. We'll change it up a little bit here, and we'll go Justin Jolie. Moving on to the Jags now. What a team. Watching the Jags out there. If you're a Jags fan, you must have some difficult times watching their games. It is so tough sometimes. I'm going to take a cornerback here. I'm going to go with Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Newsome's a free agent. Obviously, you should be. I mean, Travis Hunter, I still think is going to play wide receiver more. Unless they change something of that, I still think cornerback is an area, or defensive back in general is an area that they could use some more help on. You got Lewis in the slot. You got Jerry Jones, who's playing in the slot a lot right now. And Jones has been fantastic. I will say Jones has been their best corner. I'm going to add in Johnson, though, to just complete that room up some more and give them some much-needed depth. On to the Niners here at 21 in the second round, pick 53 overall. First pick, we got wide receiver Casey Concepcion. Now, I'm going to go and add some more help on that defensive line, add another big-time playmaker for Robert Saleh. I do like Bear Alexander, and I think the way he's playing is really, really good. And somebody adds in a 3-tech into that room with CJ West. And also, his name is Alfred Collins. But anyway, on to the Packers here. If there's one area, I guess, that we could look at to go after, would be like interior defensive line to help stop the run a little bit more. Offensive line, too, is something I would really lean on. But we've kind of picked apart the offensive line. So, especially they had a good week. Emmanuel Wilson was fantastic. I already talked about Micah Parsons and how good he is. I will go ahead and go with an interior defensive lineman. We'll get a solid run defender, Christian Miller from Georgia. Let's go on to the Indianapolis Colts, number 55 here for them and for this football team. Here's what I would be looking at. All right. I would say either right tackle of the future, depending on how they feel about Jalen Travis, I believe, from Iowa State, or Offensively, wide receiver could come in play. Alex Pierce being a free agent. Defensively, I would say either linebacker, even though Jermaine Pratt's been really good. So that's something I think he gets re-signed after this offseason. He shouldn't be super expensive either. And also interior defense line could be in play. I am going to go with, this is a tough one. They don't necessarily care so much about arm length, I feel like, when it comes to tackles. Isaiah World would be an interesting one too. It becomes down to between Caleb Tiernan and Isaiah World. I feel World's definitely a tackle prospect. So we'll go that route. We'll go and take him to be the right tackle of the future there for Braden Smith. Moving on to Chicago, 56 here. And for Chicago, first pick, we got TJ Parker. A couple areas I'd be looking at here is either interior offense line to be able to develop for the future, safety. They could use a day one starter at safety. So that to me is probably the biggest glaring hole right now that we need to address. Or cornerback. They're going to have free agency. I think there's a good chance that Kevin Byard comes back on another one-year deal or something like that. But I am going to end up taking a safety here, and AJ Halsey is going to be the pick from LSU. He's been really good this season. They need a day one impact there, so we're going to go and take Halsey. Buffalo, we are looking at going, to me at this point, I'm going to take a wide receiver. We need to add another impact pass catcher for Josh Allen in this offense. So the players that are currently available, this is a tough one. There's some good ones on the board here. I'm not going to lie. I think Omar Cooper, Jeremy Bernard, Elijah Surratt. Okay. Let's go ahead. I'll go Jeremy Bernard. I think Bernard's going to be a really good football player. So we'll go ahead and rock him up in there. On to the Chiefs here. First pick, we did get a pass catcher in this with Kenyon Sadiq. So let's get some defensive help now. I think safety. We just picked apart safety. Even though I do think safety is a big need. Zaki Wheatley. Genesis Smith's a good football player. I think he'd fit the mold, the type of safety they're looking for. Maybe a little early at this point, but he's a good football player. I'm going to take an edge rusher here because there's still some really good edge players on the board at this point. I'm going to go get Zion Young, who kind of fits the mold of a Spagnola pass rusher. We'll add in some more juice off the edge. Seattle. Okay, Seattle. We got cornerback with their first pick. Let's go and address some offensive line need now at this point. Let's get an interior guy. What do we want to do? That's a tough one, isn't it? We'll go with Caden Green, Gennings Dunker. Dunker kind of fits the mold. Yeah, let's go with Dunker in the wide zone scheme. I think he makes a lot of sense as a guard. Okay, not a tackle, as a guard. I definitely would see him more as a guard at the next level. On to the Ravens here, and there are some things I worry about with Dunker. We're moving him up a little bit. I think he's more of a third, fourth round guy in my opinion, but he's a tantalizing run blocker for sure. Let's go on to the Ravens. Number 60. We got interior defensive line. I think offensive guard could be something this team needs to invest in as well. Guards available. Could they put Tiernan at guard? He'd be an interesting convert. I think we'll do that. Let's go and take Tiernan here to put inside at guard, play either left guard or right guard. I mean, Voorhees can still stick at left guard, and then you put Tiernan over at right guard. Philly on the clock now at their pick. We went cornerback with their first selection. Second one, if Blankenship's not back, then safety could be a low-key need. Sidney Brown had to play a little bit in this past one. I am going to be taking some more interior defense line, just with contracts coming up and stuff like that. That, to me, is an area we need to look at. I like Lee Hunter a lot. So if you're looking for a Jordan Davis replacement, Lee Hunter would be a beast. I love Lee Hunter. I think he is a underrated football player. I also like Big Citrus here, who could also take a little bit of a Jordan Davis type of replacement. I think that Lee Hunter would be more of that type of guy, though. I love Dante Corleone. Hopefully the medicals check up there. Big Citrus, Lee Hunter, both some really good football players. I'll go with... I like both. I really do. We'll go with Big Citrus here from Iowa State. I really like both. So whatever. We'll see. That was like a coin flip for me. Broncos at 62 here. We went CJ Allen with their first pick. They need a center to be able to develop, and that is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go take Apani Laulu from Oregon to be their center of the future. Luke Wanberg being a free agent. Then you get younger on that interior offensive line. Then we go on to the Rams as we're winding down. The penultimate pick in this mock draft. Come on now, let's hit it up right. We got safety Caleb Downs, Denzel Boston. Ooh, I love it, man. I think that's an insane draft. Okay, do we go quarterback here? As I said before, I'm for this one, I'm gonna say Brendan Sorsby comes back. So I don't think I'm gonna take a quarterback here. I think Mensa comes back. So yeah, I'm not taking a quarterback. We'll just kind of have to hold off. And I get that, but we're gonna go cornerback. We're gonna go with Brandon Cisse and just bolster up the secondary more, add some more size into that room. And yeah, that secondary is insane. On to the New England Patriots' final pick of the draft. We went Chase Basantis with their first pick. Let's add in some more dynamicism off the edge. Romero Height was staring at me off the board here. He can bring some serious juice with Kavlon Chason, who is a free agent. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, Romello Height will round out this draft. Well, that's going to do it for the draft. Let's recap everything up here. We'll go through this nice and slowly so you can see a little, especially if you're skipping around, stuff like that. Now, I did make some maneuvers. Like there's some guys in here that you might say, whoa, what is that? For example, Isaac Smith, that's going to be Kelly Jones from Mississippi State, the cornerback, Jones Island. And you got other ones like, let's see here, Michael Taffy, who is actually Jelani McDonald, the Texas safety over there. And then Logan Jones, Kate Peeper there as well. So some of these you have to kind of look at that because they didn't have them on the simulator. That's fine. No big deal. I totally get it. It's not easy to have all these players out here. At the end of the day, though, we'll shuffle it out. Tell me what you think about this mock draft. How did I screw up your team for the next several years? We had some wild trades for sure with the Jets and the Steelers. I'm sure I'm going to get a mouthful with that Steelers one in general, and that's fine. Bring it at me. Agree or disagree. Always in for it. Have a really good day, though, you guys.